In other news now, civil society organizations remain unhappy about the Electoral Amendment Bill in its current form. Now, they want to make a last-ditch effort to get the bill fixed, especially the parts that they are deeming unconstitutional. Michael Louis is the founder of the Independent Candidates Association. Is joining me now. He led a delegation just yesterday to go and meet with the Electoral Commission of South Africa. That's, of course, the IEC. Good afternoon, Mr. Louis. How did the meeting go yesterday at the IEC?
Hello, Dan. No, we really thought that the commissioners played a magnificent role of understanding their important fiduciary rights to govern this country and deliver a fair and free election. And funny enough, I really walked away there understanding the dilemma that they are in, because at the end of the day, the IEC is there to deliver an act that comes from Parliament. And, they can only act what Parliament says. They can't get involved in policy. But yet, we sort of mentioned to them that they have got a very important role to play, because they can't just accept anything that comes from Parliament. For instance, if Parliament regulates that only women can be independent candidates, then they can't just accept it because it's unconstitutional. And that's why we thought, also just by virtue of speaking to them yesterday, to expose to them the elements of unconstitutionality that we believe still exists in the bill. They have got a right to intervene in policy and let the Standing Committee know. So I think we succeeded in that. I think they heard us. And it's now to see what they're going to do with the information that we planted.
Okay, now this process is underway under the Home Affairs Portfolio Committee in Parliament, and they had extended even the deadline for more submissions and public comments on it. Have you engaged with the parliamentary process yourselves?
Dan, we've written a couple of letters to Parliament. We've written to the Minister and the Standing Committee Chair on 2 occasions. They haven't had the courtesy to accept our letters nor to respond. And that's why we're a little bit really so disappointed, and reached out to the IEC to say that we believe as citizens, we really are a very important stakeholder in this process, and we deserve to be heard. And can they, on our behalf, reach out to the Standing Committee and the Minister and say, listen, we believe that civil society has got a voice, and you need to give them an opportunity to present their case.
What are you still unhappy, or let me say, what are these key things that you are concerned about that you don't want to see them in the amended bill?
So I think there's really 6 issues. I'm going to deal with 3 or 4 that the viewers can maybe understand. But the main issue for us, obviously, is that independent candidates can't qualify for compensatory seats or national-to-national ballots, like it's termed in the legislation. And just for the viewer's point of view, as you know, the Assembly, which is the National Assembly, is divided into 400 seats. 200 seats are directly elected and 200 proportional. Parliament and this new bill says that independent candidates can't qualify for the 200 proportional votes. Now, that is really, we believe, unconstitutional, in the sense is that the main object of the bill is that everybody's got the right for political choices and free to make those choices, and that independent candidates should qualify for that. Secondly, can you believe it, is that to become a member in a ward, if you're fighting a ward election, you need only 50 signatures. If you want to register as a political party for the National Assembly, you need 1,000 signatures. So this new bill says if you are an independent candidate, you need to get 20,000 signatures in one region. So our opinion is that the barriers to entry makes it just about impossible for an independent candidate to stand. And we're really very concerned on the very stringent barriers to entry. And then there's some others, but I think the other one I'm just going to deal with is vacancies. What happens when in a political party's got a political party list and somebody dies or somebody resigns from a political party? the next person in that political party takes up that seat, because that seat belongs to the political party. The new legislation that is drafted is that if an independent candidate dies or vacates his seat, the next highest vote of a political party or an independent candidate will take up that seat, which we believe is unconstitutional.
Very interesting indeed. So now you've met the IEC and you've appealed to them to intercede on your behalf with the parliamentary process. Is that it now in your campaign to be heard?
And I wish it was as easy as that they can intercede for us. And we can only say to the IEC what we did, is that we as civil society play a very important role to be the custodians of both Parliament, the executive, and the IEC. And because of my business experience, I so wish somebody can bring up 20 or 30 red lights to say, listen, be cautious, this is not constitutional. So they need to see us as their arm bearer. We're not somebody that should be distant and trying to fight for power or position. We're there to protect them, because should the elections take place in 2024, and say, for instance, the government or the IEC spends 500 million rand on that election, and a minute after that election takes place, one of the political parties are not satisfied with their result, what do? They say that the elections are unconstitutional. So we're there to be their arm bearers, their checks and balances, and that's all we can say and try, and we can only let the public be informed of what we believe is still unconstitutional.
And you are still betting for the independence?
Well, you know, the big thing is we founded the Independent Candidates Association because most of the people that, when they know about the independent standing, they say, who's training them? Who's equipping them? So definitely, I think that we need new actors. We need new voices on our political landscape. And we are starting next week with a campaign to choose the top 200 new leaders that can be on our political landscape. And then, to be honest with you, just listening to the previous interviews that you just had prior to this interview, I am so saddened by the state of our nation. I'm sure you are, I'm sure the viewers are. We need to do something, and I believe the key to the door is a new electoral system to get new leaders, new voices, and new actors.
Thank you very much, Michael Louis, the founder of the Independent Candidates Association of South Africa, talking about why they are still concerned about the content of the current Electoral Amendment Bill and knocking on the doors of the IEC yesterday asking for help. And some of the reasons he mentioned do actually make sense. But we'll find out whether the Home Affairs Portfolio Committee in Parliament will take these concerns into consideration as they finalize the bill.